Welcome to section 17.2, part 5. This is the 179th session of the CISSP exam prep series. This part rounds out our preventive toolkit, from decoys to firewalls to outside help. In this session, we'll cover the specific controls that round out network defense. We'll answer several questions. What are honeypots and honeynets? And where is the legal line? Why do warning banners matter? How does anti-malware defend a whole organization? What are allow lists and deny lists? What do firewalls actually do? What is sandboxing? And when do you bring in third-party security services? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because no single control carries the load alone. Picture a software company layering decoys, banners, anti-malware, firewalls, and outside experts into one coordinated defense. Each control covers a gap the others leave open. On the job, your value is not knowing one tool deeply, but weaving many into a system where an attacker who slips one net lands squarely in another. What are honeypots and honeynets? A honeypot is a decoy computer built to lure intruders, and a honeynet is two or more honeypots wired together to fake a whole network. They look real but hold nothing of value, so any access is almost certainly an intruder, since no legitimate user has a reason to touch them. They keep attackers busy and away from the real assets, and they let you watch an attacker's moves and buy time to identify them. Administrators often plant fake flaws, called pseudo-flaws, to make the trap convincing, and run honeypots on virtual machines so they can reset with a snapshot after each attack. Think of a fake safe stuffed with blank paper, wired with cameras. Where is the legal line with a honeypot? It sits between enticement and entrapment. Enticement is legal. You leave a tempting but open system out there, and an attacker who finds it on their own makes their own choice to break in. Entrapment is illegal. That is when you actively lure or trick someone into an attack they would not otherwise have attempted, then try to charge them. The distinction is who initiated the act. Laws vary by location, so know your local rules. Picture leaving an unlocked shed anyone might wander into versus mailing someone a personal invitation to trespass. Why do warning banners matter? A warning banner tells users and intruders the ground rules, usually noting that activity is monitored and recorded and reminding people what is off limits. Their wording carries real legal weight because it can bind users to acceptable behavior and support prosecution later. Even an unauthorized person who logs in sees it. Think of it as the electronic version of a no trespassing sign. It also reminds your legitimate users of the acceptable use policy they already agreed to. Clear warnings turn a fuzzy situation into a defensible one. How does anti-malware defend a whole organization? The core defense against malicious code is up-to-date anti-malware, since attackers constantly tweak malware to dodge detection, and modern tools check for new signatures many times a day. But smart organizations layer it. Filter content at the network boundary, scan on the email servers, and run anti-malware on every endpoint, so infections are caught from any direction. Install just one anti-malware product per system, because two will fight each other and waste resources. Pair this with least privilege, so a limited user cannot install malicious software, and with user education, since one unopened attachment can prevent an entire infection. Think of a building with a screened lobby, mailroom scanners, and a detector in every office. What are allow lists and deny lists? These control which applications may run, and they were once called whitelists and blacklists. An allow list names the approved applications and blocks everything else, while a deny list names the forbidden applications and blocks only those. A system uses one approach or the other, never both. Allow lists are stricter and can even use file hashes, which conveniently blocks an infected version too, because infection changes the hash. The strictest example is a mobile platform that only runs vetted apps from an approved store. A deny list fits when you simply want to block a known set, like keeping games off work machines. Think of a guest list at the door versus a banned persons list. What do firewalls actually do? Firewalls are preventive, technical controls that filter traffic by rules, and it is common to place them at the network edge to watch everything coming and going. Their rule list ends with an implicit deny, so anything not explicitly allowed is blocked. Simple guidelines help a lot, like blocking directed broadcasts and dropping traffic from the internet that carries a private, spoofed address. Firewalls have grown more capable over generations, from basic filtering to stateful inspection to next-generation devices that inspect deep into packets, filter malware, and fold in intrusion detection and prevention. A web application firewall specifically shields a web server from attacks like injection. Picture a gatekeeper who checks every passport against a strict rulebook and turns away anyone not on the approved list. What is sandboxing? Sandboxing is a virtualization technique that fences an application inside a security boundary, keeping it from touching other applications or the operating system. Anti-malware uses it to test suspicious programs safely, watching how an unknown file behaves before letting it near the real system. Developers use the same idea to test code in an isolated virtual machine, cut off from the host and network. If something misbehaves, the damage stays trapped in the box. Think of testing a firecracker inside a thick steel drum where any blast is contained. When do you bring in third-party security services? When it makes sense to hand certain security work to an outside individual or organization, such as auditing or penetration testing. Cloud providers also deliver security as a service, offering things like managed filtering and threat management from the cloud. But outsourcing the work never outsources the responsibility. If a standard like the major payment card requirements applies to you, your providers must comply too, and that accountability stays with you. Think of hiring an outside inspector. They do the work, but you still answer for the building. So let's bring it together. Honeypots and honeynets are decoys that distract and reveal attackers, staying on the legal side through enticement, not entrapment. Warning banners set defensible rules. Anti-malware works best layered across boundary, email, and endpoint, backed by least privilege and education. Allow and deny lists govern what runs. Firewalls filter traffic and end in an implicit deny, and sandboxing contains untrusted code. Third-party services extend your reach, but never your responsibility. Together, these controls form the layered defense that catches what any single tool would miss. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on rucloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.